when you embark on a journey of making a feature film, you're getting ready to commit to making hundreds and hundreds and thousands of decisions. Wouldn't you want a sort of guide to be able to reflect and pass through, or like a prism, all of those questions that you have to ask yourself, that you have decisions you have to make that other people are going to ask you? Whenever I hit a roadblock, I simply stop and ask myself, are the decisions and actions I'm taking right now, do they align with the constraints I gave myself? And if they don't, I cut it, I get rid of it. Even when I'm writing the screenplay, as I'm writing, if I have a great idea, I think, wow, this idea is so awesome. I quickly filter it. Does this fall within the constraints? If it doesn't, I know I probably can't afford to do it. It's probably too big. It's getting unwieldy. So immediately I must take that scene and an idea and think, how can I do it with the resources I have? And this allows my mind to actually be more creative. And that's what I want to talk about, is that when you apply these creative constraints, you actually become more creative and you free yourself from the endless decisions, and you actually allow yourself to focus on solving the problems right in front of you through having a lens and a perspective to be able to guide yourself. So you're not floundering. Now you have a focus, and that is everything. I kept trying to write and create these crazy, huge sci-fi, fantasy, epic films, which of course I love, but I also love really personal human stories. And I realized that if people were going to take me serious as a filmmaker, I needed to start with the basics, go to the roots, and show people what I can do with very little. So that's when, in this moment of inspiration, I sat down and I drew out this right here. And I'm just going to go through these 4 constraints. Now, obviously, I'm going to encourage you to come up with your own constraints. These were personal to me and are going to be my guiding pillars as we move forward to make this feature film, which is why I wanted this to be the next episode. Before I get into talking about the film, what it's about, how I'm going to make it, the writing, all that stuff, I wanted to start what for me felt like the beginning of this whole process. When I started and decided to make this feature film and started writing it, it all began with this realization here. Let's jump into it. It must be personal. I felt like the one thing that was lacking in my writing was something incredibly personal, that felt like the only person who could make this was me. And so that was the first thing I wrote, was it has to be something personal. I need to be able to go inward, to tap into my own personal story, to really figure out my unique voice and what it is that I want to say. Before I start adding all these layers, I wanted to start with something that's personal. The second one I wrote was focus on the basics. For me, that means camera, writing, directing actors. Focus on the basics is a form of mastery, craft mastery, that I know what I'm doing and I know how to operate the tools I have to tell the story I want. To keep the story simple. What do I have around me? What resources? What people? What gear? What locations? And now I'm going to take that as constraints and I'm going to apply it to my screenplay. And so that way when I write it, I know that whatever I'm writing, I'm going to be able to film, which is very motivating and very powerful. Because before I was like, oh man, who's going to buy this? Are they going to like this? And I'm thinking about all these things that are distracting me from actually making a feature film. Fourth constraint I wrote down was, if I made the film small, I could make it the way I want. It's not so much about just being controlling the idea. It's actually about authenticity and being able to own my ideas, that I want to own this decision in this film. When you apply constraints, you apply focus, and your brain can come alive to solve those problems and to create, and with freedom and new ideas, because now it has a vision. So this is why I wanted to start here at the beginning of the journey, is I wanted to talk about the creative constraints I wrote, and I want to challenge you. Go sit down right now. Do it right now while it's fresh on your mind. I'm sure as I've been talking, you've probably been thinking of things and be like, you know what, this is probably one of mine. Go sit down, get your own journal, whether it's on your phone or on paper or however you journal, and write out what are your creative constraints for your project. And then once you do that, tell me in the chat what your experience was like, and even if what some of those constraints were. I would love to know as an artist what you've chosen as your constraints and maybe even some of your projects. Now, I hope this helps you. I know it completely changed everything, and it's the reason I'm making this feature film right now and even doing this channel. So I hope this has a huge impact on you. Thanks for taking the time to listen, and go get them, and I'll see you next week.